Okay, class, we're going to pick up where we left off for Module 2 for 2.2. Basically, what we're going to cover in 2.2 of building a database and defining table relationships is to import data from Excel, import an existing table structure. We're going to add fields to a table with data type gallery. We're going to delete and rename fields. We're going to change the data type for a field in Design View. We're going to set the default value property for a field. We're going to import a text file, and we're going to define a relationship between two tables. All right, so in your textbook, we're going to start on page 78. We're going to look at adding records to a new table. So we're going to open up. So again, make sure you have your Riverview database open up. I did do a backup when I stopped my previous session, just to make sure I would always have a backup copy. So we're going to double click on billing. And if you remember what we had done in the previous 2.1 module was we created this in Design View. So now we're going to enter some data, and we're going to enter the information that's in 221 on page 78. All right, so for invoice num, we're going to enter step 4. We're going to tab over. We're going to type in 1002. The invoice date is 11/9/2016. We're going to tab over. For our invoice amount, we're going to type 50. The item is going to be lab work. We're going to type over. And again, remember, spacebar indicates yes. So we're pressing the spacebar to check that box. Next, we're going to look at using a keyboard shortcut as a key or a combination of keys you press to complete an action more efficiently. So we're going to add the next record. So what we're going to do is add our information. Make sure I'm in the right part. Okay, so next record is going to be 42125. I'm going to tab 1012. Our date is going to be 11/21/2016. We're going to tab over. And then here on step 2 on page 79, we're going to press our control key. All right. So we're going to type in 50. We're going to type in off-site visit. Okay, for invoice paid, we're going to just press the tab key to start a new record. All right, next we're going to add the next record, which is 42271 1077 12/15/16. All right, we're going to tab over. Our amount is $45. Our invoice item is going to be fleet and tick. So again, this can be seen on page 78 and figure 221. So it's flea and tick medications. We're going to tab and we're going to select the space bar. All right, our next one is 42518 1181 1/26/2017. Again, I put a special character, so let's delete that. Okay, the amount is $35. This is heartworm medication. Tab over, and the invoice paid is a no. All right, so we've entered this information. Next, what we're going to do is actually look at importing data from an Excel worksheet. And all the files that you need are in your Blackboard session. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to close billing. It's going to ask us to save. We're going to say yes. All right, now here on our ribbon, we're going to select external data. From here, we're going to select Excel. So here's the multiple options you have for importing data into your database. We're going to select Excel. All right, so our Excel spreadsheet dialog box pops up. You have to search for the location so you can browse to it. There's some options here. What we plan to do is we're going to append a copy of the records to an existing table. So let's search for our file. So from here, you just have to find where you have your information saved. All right, and I'm in module. So we're going to select invoices and select open. Again, we're going to select append because what we want to do, there's already data there, so we want to add to what's there. And so you can see here, there's two different tables. So what table are we appending this additional data to? So we want to make sure we select billing. We're going to select OK. Now, it will give us the import spreadsheet wizard so you can look at the information. It's important, as I had stated earlier, that anything you import into something that's existing, you need to make sure everything has to match. One thing that people have a lot of issues with is if they created their table and it has spaces in it, then it's going to create issues here when you try to add this additional information. All right, so we're going to select next. All right, we're going to select import it into the billing table, and we're going to select finish. All right, we're going to select close. Now we're going to open up our billing table, and so now you should see that we have 204 records. So what it did, we only had 4 originally. It added the 200 additional records from that Excel spreadsheet. Okay? And again, remember, based on your primary number, primary key, it will put these in order. So next we're going to look at creating a table by importing an existing table or table structure. All right, so we're going to close billing. So now what we want to do on our external data ribbon, we're going to select access. So what we're doing is pulling in an existing table from access. So we have to search for where we're looking, and I'm going to select Kelly, select open. And so from here, we're going to select import tables, queries, forms, reports, macros from this current database. Okay, so we're going to select OK. And now it's going to give us the import object. So we're going to tell it specifically what we want from that database. So you can only take the definitions, you can take the data and the definitions. It gives you multiple options. So on page 85, you have tables, queries, forms, reports, macros, and modules. All right, so what we want to do is select owner and select OK. And I did the wrong thing. My bad. So what we're going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to delete that because I made a mistake. Yes. So let's do this again. We're going to select access. We're going to select Kelly, import, and then, sorry, here's the step I messed up on. So we're going to select owner, but now we need to select options to tell it what we want from that specific database. So again, my apologies. We want to select relationships. We want definition. So here's our options, definition and data or definition only, as query, as tables. So we're going to select definition only. We're going to select OK, and then we're going to select close. Now, you can see that it added a new table, owner, And what it did was only add the information from that table as far as the definition. So basically the definition means the structure of that table. All right, so next we're going to look at importing an existing table. So we're going to close this. All right, so next what we want to do, again, is we're going to select Access. All right, we're going to select Browse. And from here, we want to select All Animals. We're going to select Open. Again, we're going to import tables. We have our Import Objects box. We're going to select Animal, and then we're going to select Options. Next, we want to select Definition and Data, and we're going to select OK, and then Close. All right, now we're going to double-click on Animal, and you can see that it pulled all the information. So it didn't just pull one specific thing, it pulled the structure as well as the data that was included there. So now we're going to look at the bottom of page 86, top of 87, we're going to look at adding fields to a table using data type gallery. Okay. So on page 87, we're going to open the owner table. So let's close Animal. Double click on Owner. All right. So when we click on this specific table, we have this contextual tab that appears for table tools with fields and tables. So we're going to select fields. All right. So in the first row, in the email field, we want to make it active. Let's see. Let's read that again. All right. So what we're going to be doing here is actually using what is called the Quick Start selection. And so if you think of an address, typically you have your a street address, your state, city, state, zip code, and maybe the country. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to make sure we're selected here on email because we want our information added in. So from here, under fields, what we're going to do is select under add and remove, we're going to select more fields, and then we're going to come down to the quick start and we're going to select address. And what that did was insert the additional information for address, city, state, zip, and country. Okay, so now what we're going to do is actually modify that information. We're going to delete fields from the table structure. So what we're going to do is delete the country. So in the first row, in the country field, if necessary, so on the fields, we're going to select add and delete. So what we want to do is we already highlighted on country and region. So again, under the contextual tab for fields, we're going to select delete, and that removes that specific field. Next, so that was in the datasheet view. All right, so you can do anything in datasheet view that you can do in design view. Okay, so we did that in datasheet view. So now we're going to delete in design. So we're going to select view to change it to the design view. Now we're going to click on the title field. All right, so from here, what we're going to do is we're going to delete rows. Okay, again, here under design, we're going to delete rows. All right, so next, what we want to select is on the row selector for facts field here, is we're going to press and hold the mouse button and drag the mouse and select county and fields, or county and notes, excuse me. So we're going to highlight 3. Okay? And now, again, we're going to select delete rows. So you can delete one row or you can delete multiple rows. We're going to look at renaming fields in design view. So again, we're still in design view. All right? So we're going to rename a field. So we're going to position our mouse over State Providence. All right, and so we're going to take out province. So it'll just say state. Okay, and then we're going to select the zip postal and just leave zip. All right, next we're going to look at changing the data type in Design View. Again, we're still in Design View. So with Design View, you can't actually see any data. In Data Sheet View, you can, but you can also still make the same changes as far as properties and things like that as well. All right, so we're going to click on the right side of the data type for phone. So here's our phone. So we're going to select here for our data type. We're going to select the drop-down menu, and we're going to change that to short text. Press F6 to get down to our field properties, and we're going to change that to 14. All right, next we're going to click on the address field name. All right, we're going to press F6 to come down to our field properties. We're going to change our size from 255 to 35. We're going to come down to our caption, and we're just going to delete that because it's pretty self-explanatory. And then we're going to repeat steps 1 through 3 for city. Okay, so for city, F6, we're going to type in 25 for the field size. Going to tab down to caption and delete. We're also going to do the same thing for state, F6. Going to change it to 2. Tab down. We're going to delete that caption. Zip is next. F6. Going to change it to 10. Tab down and delete that caption. All right, and then we're going to select the Save button. All right, next we're going to enter the description and caption property values. The description is optional for the owner ID. We're going to type in here, we're going to type in primary key. All right, so for our caption, all right, so for our caption, tab down, we're going to type in owner ID. All right, for the first name, we're just going to press F6, tab down to our caption, and type in first space name. All right. Next, we're going to do last name, F6. We're going to tab down to caption and type in last space name. All right. Now we're going to change our view. So we're in Data Sheet View. So we're going to change our view. It tells us that we must save our table. So we're going to select Save. All right. So now you can see where we changed the spacing and deleted the additional information that we did not need. Okay, next on page 93, we're going to look at setting the default value property for our fields. So if you have a database or a table that typically, we live in North Carolina, so the majority of the time that state would always be North Carolina. You can set that as a default so you don't have to type it in every time. So we're going to go back to Design View. We're going to select State. From here, we're going to type in F6, and then we're going to tab down to the default value listed here under our field properties. All right. So from here, what we want to do is type in West Virginia. Okay. Now, as you saw, I only typed in the WY. I did not put the quotes. It will automatically add those for you. And we're going to select Save. Next, we're going to add two records. So from here, we're going to go back to the data sheet view. So we're going to type in the information on page 94, so 2310. We're just going to put your name. I'm just typing mine. So 307 824 1245 12 Elm Lane, Cody. And you can see by default already, it already has, it assumes that I'm in West Virginia. So I'm not changing that because we are. 82414. And then just type in what's there. So student at example.com. Our next record is 2314. Sally Cruz 307 406 4221 199 18th Avenue, Ralston, West Virginia 82440, and S Cruz at example.com. All right, and so again, your table selector, and then we can resize our rows to get all the information in that's necessary. Next, we're going to look at adding data to a table by importing a text file. All right, so what we're going to do here on the external ribbon is we're going to import a text file. So again, we have to browse. We're looking for owner. We're going to select open. We're going to append, and what we want to do is append to owner. So one short thing, let's actually cancel this and let's close out. We're going to save. So now let's try this again, external. We're going to select text. We're going to select owner. Okay, we're going to append and make sure we're appending to owner. We're going to select OK. Now, what it gives us here is, because it's a text file, this is the way the information looks in the text file. It's separated by commas. So we want to make sure we select delimited. All right. We're going to select next. And so it basically shows us that it's separated by a comma. Okay. And again, anytime you're importing in data, you need to make sure that your values match what your table actually looks like. So we're going to select next. All right. All right, we're going to import to table, and we're going to select finish. And we're going to select close. So next what we're going to do is we're going to view the owner table in datasheet view. So we're going to double click. All right, so now we have a total of 25 records. Okay. All right, so we're going to save. We're going to close this. Now, what we're going to do is look at defining relationships, table relationships. And the great thing about Access is that you can take multiple tables because they are linked by some common field and create relationships between those. And then so you can have all these tables that have different types of information about a common element and pull data from all of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to perform what is called a join. So we will join the tables by that common link. All right, so on page 98, it talks about a one-to-many relationship. A one-to-many relationship exists between two tables when one record in the first table matches 0, 1, or many records in the second table, and when one record in the second table matches at most one record in the first table. Other things that are important when you're joining tables is referential integrity, which is a set of rules that Access enforces to maintain consistency between related tables when you update data in a database. So there's options to cascade update related fields option, and there's cascade delete related records option. So on page 100, we have all our tables, flows, queries, and all that. So we're going to select database tools. All right, and this is where we're going to join. We're going to select relationships. And so from here you can see this is tables, queries, and both. So we just are looking currently at tables. This lists all the tables that we currently have, so it matches what we have here on the left-hand side. We're going to click on owner. When you double click, that adds it here so we can create a relationship. We're going to select animal, and we're going to select close. Now one quick note before I do that, if I accidentally double clicked again, it would create another one. So if you did that, all you have to do is highlight it, just click on it, and delete. Okay? So If you make a mistake and double click too many times, you can always delete that. So on page 101, on the owner ID, you can look at the information here. So we can drag these tables out to make sure we can see all the information that's listed. So we can expand them. If you look at the information in both, what's common? So owner ID, which is the primary key in owner, so it is a foreign key in animal. So what we're going to do is actually drag owner ID on top of the owner ID for animal, and that will create the edit relationship. So from here, we need to make sure that owner ID matches for owner and for animal. So that's where we're linking the two or joining the two tables. We also want to enforce referential integrity to make sure, this basically checks to make sure that the tables are consistent, that they match. So like the primary key and the foreign key, they match. There's nothing that's not in common. And then we want to cascade update related fields. And then we're going to select create. So basically what it's done is create, and you can see here a one-to-many, so the infinity sign. There's one owner ID, but because that owner could have multiple animals, they could have multiple records here, if that makes sense. So one here could potentially have multiples here because they could have multiple animals. So if you have several different pets, you, of course, are the one owner, but you have multiple pets, so that's why it's one-to-many. And the relationship is one-to-many. It's in bold. Okay, so always make sure that's correct. All right, next on page 102, we're going to define the relationship between animal and visit. All right, so while we're here, you can select Show Table if you close it. All right, so next we're going to double-click Visit. And we're going to select Close. So we're going to drag, if you compare the two, animal ID is common in both. All right? So again, making sure that information is correct. We're going to enforce referential integrity. We're going to select Cascade Update Related Fields. And then we're going to select Create. Again, one-to-many. There's one specific animal, that unique animal, but that animal could have multiple visits. Okay? All right, so again, we're going to add billing. So we're going to show table. All right, and so from here, we're going to double click on billing. I'm going to close this. So now, if you look at visit and billing, the visit ID is going to be the common field between each. So we're going to take visit ID from visit and drag it on top of billing. Now, one quick thing, if for some reason you actually drag it on top of some other field, it would have that field here listed. So at that point, you could change it to make sure it was accurate. So you don't have to delete it. You can just select the correct field that you're trying to do. We're going to do enforce referential integrity, cascade, update related fields, and we're going to select create. So basically, we've created one-to-many relationships with all these tables, and you can see how they're joined because of common fields. So we're going to select Save, and we're going to close.